the mecca of college football. That's where we're going to start this video out at. You guys remember those words? You guys remember how a specific coach left Oklahoma to go to USC and say, hey, I can't recruit there. I can't win there. Goes out to USC, has a okay first season. You take a star quarterback with you, a quarterback that might be one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in college football, statistically at least. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's got incredible performances. Dude's a first-round pick, a number one pick, no question of the doubt. We're going to talk today about how Lincoln Riley's a fraud because he took this team, he took these players out to USC, and then he tried to not only sell USC fans, but he tried to sell the world that he couldn't get it done in Oklahoma because Oklahoma was this place that you can't recruit, you can't win. Yet he goes to USC and he can't put out a product that draws fans to fill that stadium. He can't put out a winning product that convinces you USC can compete with the best of them. And for the USC fans that have been in my mentions, and that might even jump into this video, that have said your defense is good, you can exit the chat because it's just not true. It's just not true. I went and I looked up some of the USC stats on defense, and they're pretty horrendous. Some of these are worse than what it was at Oklahoma. That's how bad it is. Let me tell you guys a little bit about it. USC, number 109th in total defense. 109. You want to know who is ahead of you? Vanderbilt, UTSA, Charlotte, New Mexico, Houston, Utah State, Western Michigan. Yeah. That's who is ahead of USC. Let me even dive a little bit deeper into it. 409.2 yards per game. And you haven't even played competition that is top tier of your conference. This week, you have to go play Notre Dame. By God, you're probably going to lose that game, and it's going to look ugly. Not to mention, you have to play in Oregon. And you're really telling me you're going to get past Utah, who has one of the best defenses in the country. USC fans, please stand up if you tell me USC's defense is one of the best in the country, that they're really good. They're number 113th in the passing yards per game, right? 264.3 yards per game. You want to know who's ahead of you there in yards per game in the passing game? Huh. Shocker. Vanderbilt, UTSA, Kansas State, Ole Miss, Rice, San Diego State, UConn, Buffalo. Some of you probably didn't even know Buffalo exists. Not to mention, you have Texas State tied with you at 113 and California nipping at your heels. Arkansas State, the team that got shellaxed by Oklahoma this season, yeah, they're at 267 at 117. So they're right there as well. Let's dive into it a little bit more because I know this hurts. And I want you guys to be fired up about how bad this hurts because Oklahoma fans were fired up about it. 89th in rushing yards per game at 157 yards per game. Do you really want to get pissed off some more of who's ahead of you there? Indiana, Toledo, Navy, UTSA again? Hey, it really seems like UTSA might be able to beat USC if you put them on the same field because they got a better defense. I mean, statistically. Now, Caleb Williams is a bad man and he does bad man things. So really, they probably win that game. But all of this originates from a 43-41 loss over Arizona. And if you're a USC fan, you look at this and you say, we got a tough schedule coming up. And how in the world do we win this game? At the end of the first quarter, you were down 10-0. At halftime, you go in down 17-14. And then in the third quarter, you finally tie the ball game up. Or get ahead. Then it takes overtime, 3, by the way, to beat Arizona. Arizona, a team that was 3-2 and 1-2 in your conference. And don't tell me, oh, well, we're getting everybody's best game. It's time for you guys to let go of Alex Grinch. The dude does not call a good defensive game. He gets these defensive linemen to shed weight so they can run this speed D. How's that speed D turning out for you guys? It didn't do well at Oklahoma. What made you think it was going to do any better out there at USC? In a conference where you have some of the best quarterbacks. And mind you, Lincoln Riley, again, made a nobody quarterback. And that's no disrespect to Noah Fafada. I just don't know who the guy is. And I don't feel like you guys know who he is either. Don't lie and jump in the chats and act like you know who this guy is. You guys let him sling the ball around. And you let him tear you up. Let's read his stats here. 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. 303 passing yards. 8.7 average. 25 of 35. Not to mention, in the run game, you guys allowed 203 yards. You let Arizona outgain you 506 to 330 to 365 in the total yards. USC's defense is bad, and you ain't going very far. I wanted USC to be good this year because now that Oklahoma looks like they could make the playoffs, I wanted to see that matchup of Oklahoma and USC in the playoffs. I have absolutely no faith and confidence USC is going to get there. Lincoln Riley was a fraud to tell you he is going to sell you this product and bring a product to the West Coast and USC that they haven't seen in a long time. Guys, Dan Lanning in his second year might have a shot to win a national championship. Washington with Michael Penix Jr., they're right there as well. Not to mention, you have Colorado in your conference who, although they're not going to win anything, man, they're going to challenge a lot of people on their schedule. And they gave you guys a challenge. You guys let them come back. Remember when you guys were in control of that game and you let Shedeur Sanders and Amari Miller go off? No matter what you guys bring in through the transfer portal, it's not going to change. And whatever you guys bring in on the recruiting trail, it's not going to change either. Because so far, we have not seen Lincoln Riley recruit elite players on the defensive side of the ball, whether that was at Oklahoma or USC. Yet, again, I thought he couldn't recruit elite players to Oklahoma. Apparently, he can't do it to USC. USC is currently ranked number 18 in the 247 composite rankings with 15 commits. You don't have a 5-star. And Oklahoma, by the way, with Brent Venables in their second year, who had not as big of a head start as Lincoln Riley in getting their coaching tenure started at that school, they're number 7. And they've already landed a 5-star quarterback since Lincoln Riley's gone. Remember when people said they couldn't do that? Maybe Lincoln Riley isn't the coach that he's selling you all that he is. You guys want to know where they were in the 2023 recruiting rankings? Because Oklahoma ended the cycle at number 5. USC ended at number 8. You guys want to know how many decommits you guys have had in 2024? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. And you might have a 6th one coming. Not to mention, you've already had 2 in 2025. An elite 5-star safety. And a 3-star prospect in Jeff White out of Miami, Florida. So, I look at what Lincoln Riley has told USC fans and what he's putting out there on the field, and I'm saying, it ain't it. And USC fans should be pissed. And although it's probably not time to give up on Lincoln Riley because he's the best head coach that you've had at USC in a while, I'd be raising hell. It's time to fire Alex Grinch and hold Lincoln Riley accountable to get a defensive coordinator in that role that can bring USC back to relevance, because USC fans do not deserve the product that Lincoln Riley is putting on that field. And no college football fan should put up with this. Caleb Williams should be pissed. His career has been wasted at USC. He is not going to play in a national championship. And if he comes back next year, he definitely ain't getting there next year either. USC will have to make massive improvements. And you can't tell me, as long as Alex Grinch is the defensive coordinator, that they're going to make a change. Caleb Williams would have been better off left at Oklahoma, where he could have had a chance to win a national championship, because Oklahoma is putting themselves in that position now. They're putting themselves in a position to win games. USC's schedule is brutal. Notre Dame next week, at Notre Dame, 6:30, prime time. People get to watch USC and see what they really are. There's a chance you lose that game. Although Notre Dame's offense isn't spectacular, they can beat you. They have a good defense. And this will be one of the first defenses that we can see give Caleb Williams a too high safety look to see, can they beat him? Versus Utah the next week. Yes, it's at home. Again, tell me you're going to beat one of the top defenses in the country. California ain't no pushover either. They've got this weirdly good offensive team. Washington at home. You really think you're going to stop Michael Penix Jr. from slinging the ball all over the field? You've got to go to Eugene, Oregon. You think you're going to stop Bo Nix in that offense at Oregon that put up damn near almost 80 points against Portland State? And then you have UCLA at the end of the year at home. We know Chip Kelly's an offensive-minded guy. There's a good chance USC has 4 to 5 losses on their schedule by the end of the year. And you laugh at me now. That 6-7 season that Oklahoma had, let me tell you guys, it was coming. Because the prior years at Oklahoma, they got worse and worse. And in 2022, Oklahoma won games they really didn't have business winning. And it wasn't because of a lack of talent. It was because you had a head coach and the defensive coordinator that really, they're not what they make themselves out to be. And I know some of you might take this as a hot take, or, hey, maybe this guy's hating on Oklahoma or hating on Lincoln Riley because he's from Oklahoma. That's not the case, guys. I feel bad for USC fans. Y'all were given this expectation that y'all were bringing back to relevance, and it's not happening. It's not there. And until Lincoln Riley shows us he can make a change at the defensive coordinator position, and he can bring in an elite defensive coordinator, and he can recruit elite defensive players, this ain't going nowhere. Maybe Lincoln Riley's not even your head coach next year. Maybe he goes to Los Angeles or Arizona, someplace that gets the first pick. But guys, I want to hear from you, and I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button, jump down in the comments below, and let me know what y'all think.